UMAR, AHMED, IFL TV, MTK Global, joined by Matthew Macklin. I might as well explain what Instagram Live is on here. So, where's your...
I know what it is. I've seen people doing it. I didn't know you could do two and have conversations going at the same time.
Yeah, you can split the screen.
I mean, I don't know how to do it myself. You know what I mean? Even the usual one. I'm learning. Yeah.
How's the podcast going? I don't really speak to you about it.
Yeah, it's going well. Really well, actually. We've got one coming with Johnny soon. Really, really good episode, actually. Talking about self-belief and confidence and everything. And they're all different, do you know what I mean? Like, so, we had Thomas Hauser on. He went in heavy on the PEDs, using boxing and the testing. Didn't really pull too many punches. You know, we've got Ksi-Logan coming up. That was hilarious.
That's probably got to be the best one you've done, surely.
He was brilliant, man. You know, I don't know, John Pegg was absolutely quality. He was so funny. He was unbelievable. Some of his stories are just got, and the way John tells them, you know what I mean? He was just priceless. Who else we had? We've had you know, George Groves, Carl Froch.
What, on the same one?
No, different ones. They've all been really, you know, with Peter Buckley. Do you remember Peter Buckley, journeyman from Birmingham, had like 300 fights. We had Ryan Rhodes as well. He was really good. Yeah, it's been good, man. Just really enjoyable.
What's it like working with Andy on that compared to what you do with Sky?
Well, that was the thing. Me and Andy were doing a lot together at Sky on the commentary, obviously, and then with a few overnight ones. And I said, look, we're together a lot. I said, do you want to do a podcast? I said, why not? Let's kind of get you more immersed back in the boxing. Keeps you really current with things as well. You know, you're talking boxing all the time. When you're commentating, I think it's important that you stay current. You've got to know who's coming through, who the prospects are, even the amateurs, really. And Andy Clark's really good with that. He's very across everything. You know, sometimes when you're fighting yourself towards the end of your own career, you know, it's been long, drawn out. You're only really focused on, you know, the top few guys, really, who's maybe a couple of people coming behind you, but not too many. And you lose touch a little bit. But you know, when I started working more with Sky, I realised that, you know, you got to be a lot more across everything. You got to know, you know, you got to know who Southern area champions are, really. You know, you've got to be eating, sleeping, breathing boxing. You've got to be talking about it every week on the telly, and you need to know what you're talking about. So I thought, you know, the more I can get re-immersed in boxing, really fall back in love with it, it will help me as a commentator. So I said, to Andy, let's do a podcast. I said, nothing, we're not backed by anyone, we're not aligned to anyone, so there's no motive or anyone pushing anything or agenda, nothing like that. And we just do it differently. We're together a lot. We've bought a bit of recording equipment between us, only cheap, and that's it. And then the last sort of while, a friend of his has given a bit of help in terms of the digital stuff, how to put it out, doing a little video. We started videoing now, not to put out on YouTube or anything, but just to do these like mini 60-second clips that we can promote it on Twitter and Instagram, and it seems to be growing. We get quite like, you know, 6,000-7,000 listens every week. It's definitely growing, but like I say, from our point of view, mine and Andy's, we're just enjoying it. We just said we'll see where it goes. If it goes somewhere, great. If not, it's been enjoyable anyway.
Was it just me, or did a load of boxing podcasts come around at the same time? You had like Spencer Oliver and Jake Wood, which is Max of EastEnders. Then you had Chris Lloyd. He does his one with Carl Frampton. I think yours popped up around the same time. Am I correct in saying that? Yeah.
So I wasn't aware of these other ones really until we did one. So I did know that Spencer Oliver. I think I had seen that one. I'd never listened to one, but I think I'd seen it on Twitter. And I knew Trish Dixon was doing live stories. I knew he was very much, you know, he was very much specific live stories. So ours, like I say, isn't specific to any narrative. It's like just whatever, whoever, whatever, and just see where it goes. But it's all boxing people. So I think what I said to Andy is, look, everyone in boxing has got a story. It's not everyone's an Olympic gold medalist, ABA champion, turned GB squad, turning pro. You know, everyone starts from a different point, and not just boxers, the personalities within boxing. Like we've had Al Siesta on it. Al Siesta's an agent, matchmaker. I don't know if he's a matchmaker, but he's an agent.
No, he does matchmaking as well.
Does he as well? Yeah. He gets a lot of fights. I know a lot of matchmakers use him because he's an agent. But he's a personality, and he didn't get into boxing until, say, 7 years ago. Had a bit of a background in music. Then he told the story about when he come from Russia. So do you know what I mean? It's interesting, all these different personalities and figures in boxing. you know, everyone's got a different story, and I think, and that's what I like about it. Like I say, we had George Groves, Carl Frutch, two big time, you know, world champions, and then someone like Al Siesta, Peter Buckley, a journeyman and agent. We had Sherelle Brown on as well, a woman boxer, girl. She was telling how it is for her and her struggle. So yeah, it's just been really enjoyable, and I think it's gone down well. It's got people enjoying them.
Okay. So how did last night work in terms of commentary? Because we know all the YouTubers were commentating. Is that correct? Like Joe Weller and Ethan Payne. You didn't do commentary on the main fight?
No, or even the other fight between YouTubers, because what am I going to talk about them? Do you know what I mean?
So you just did Billy and Devin, right?
Just did Billy Devin and Diego Pacheco, and Ronnie Rios, the proper boxing fights. You know, let's face it, the YouTubers. I'm not anti. It was what it was. There were really guys with raw novices with like no even amateur background that had one white collar fight really against each other previous, that have spent a bit of time training and went in there and fought under professional boxing rules, 10-ounce gloves, right, Clayton Reyes gloves, and 6 3-minute rounds. And you got, from that point of view, you've got to respect them for like going out there and having a fight with that many people watching on telly, on YouTube, on live at the arena, to put their pride and ego on the line, because they've already got a lot of money, so it's not like, oh, they did it for money. Yeah, they did earn money, but they got a lot of money anyway. So I think to do that, I respect that they went out there. It takes courage to get in the ring. There are levels and degrees of courage, but it still takes courage to get in there and actually. KSI got hurt and Logan got put down. He got hit with the top of the head and his legs went a bit, but KSI got hit with that uppercut, and he was like, when he got up, his legs were all over the place, and probably I don't think he should have had points off. I think he should have warned Logan Paul, don't do that again. But I think KSI should have got a count and the fight should have gone on. But regardless of that, what I mean, my point being is they got hit with hard shots, not loads, because they were missing a lot and it was quite scrappy and they didn't really have the technical ability, to be accurate and stuff and to keep it going, to sustain it. But they did dig in. They did get hit with some shots and they did get hurt and they did dig in, and they were knackered after. So from that point of view, respect to them. Are we going to pretend that either could go on and have boxing careers after? Definitely not. And it was definitely a strange atmosphere because there wasn't really a boxing crowd. Everyone in that arena was there for those two guys. They weren't there to really see Devin Haney or Billy Joe. They were there to see the fight between KSI and Logan Paul, and it felt a bit strange the whole night. A little bit. It just seemed a bit weird, and I can't even explain it. It just didn't seem like the usual atmosphere at the big fights that we do.
Well, of course it wasn't. I mean, you were at Staples Centre, 9 o'clock. Main event, and as you said, two novices were just swinging leather. It was strange.
Yeah, raw novices. But you know what? Billy Joe didn't perform. Listen, he pulled it out. Respect to him. He pulled it out when he had to. When he was feeling bad, he was tired. Wasn't happening for him. He was flat. There were reasons for that, which we all know, the jet lag, and he was under the weather as well. So it wasn't happening for him. He felt very flat. Yet gritted out. Stuck it out and found the punches to get a really good finish actually in the 11th round. So hats off to Billy Joe, but it was a really flat performance. Devin Haney, scrappy fight. I get credit to his opponent. It wasn't bad. He was quite cute and he messed him about a bit. He was awkward. He was wiry, and Devin's fight never caught fire. So it was like, and even the swing bout Nikita Ababe, that was a bizarre fight. Again, his opponent he got put down with the right hand, then got a bit of a tap on the back of the head and was rolling around on the floor.
Made the most of it, really, didn't he?
Listen, he was looking for an Oscar. That was like, it wasn't a very good job. I mean, the acting was terrible, but it was like, talk about making a meal of it. He was trying to get Ababe disqualified. So, I mean, the ref could see that, to get up. And then he actually got stuck into Ababe, hit him after the ball, and then was disqualified. So that was a bad fight. It was a strange card, really. The fights never caught fire, never really happened. And even though all the talk about the YouTubers, you agreed with it being the top of the bill, this, that, and the other. Actually, it was the best fight of the night from an entertainment, excitement point of view. So it was, it's been an experience. I've enjoyed the week. It's been fun.
Well, we're going to have some proper boxing coming up in the next month or so. 2 huge rematches in the heavyweight division. You've done kind of an analysis with me before. I just want you to give your gut instinct. So we'll start with Wilder or Ortiz. You going for Wilder?
Yeah. Ortiz, good fighter, as we've seen in the rematch in the first fight. Not an easy fight for Wilder, but I think Wilder wins. Probably knocks him out.
And if someone put a bullet to your head right now and said Ruiz Joshua?
Do you know what? Bullet to my head, probably Ruiz. You know, rematches, when you go straight into a rematch after a loss like that, they don't normally tend to go too well. They usually go the same way. David Price, Tony Thompson. You know, when you took a beating in a fight, you've got to psychologically recover from that. Now, if there are, you know, reasons like your training was bad, or you were injured or something, then maybe you can. It might be a bit easier to pin it on something, but I don't know. Anthony Joshua said it was a punch from the gods. It wasn't a punch from the gods. You know, he actually had Andy Ruiz down in the third fight. Then he got hit with a shot high in the head. His equilibrium went, and you know, after that he got through the round, but never recovered. And Andy Ruiz had him down again, and actually beat him up towards the end. So it wasn't a punch from the gods. So that makes you think he's in denial about what happened. That he hasn't, and if he's in denial, if he hasn't faced what happened and accepted it, then how have you got past it mentally in your head? So, you know, that said, he may approach the fight so much better than, you know, mentally he'll definitely have enough fear in him. But has he got too much fear in him? I don't know. There's a lot of ifs, buts and maybes, a lot of unknown questions there about how is he psychologically going into the fight. What's his confidence going to be like? Don't know. Look, I think he's got to keep it on the end of the jab, the end of the straight right hand. He can't afford to go into a shootout with a shorter guy with faster hands. You know, don't hook with a hooker. You know what I mean? And when he scored the knockdown, he went for the finish, went into that exchange and got clipped. Came out second best. So, like I say, look, I'm not going to say I think he'll lose. I don't know what's going to happen in that fight. Yeah, I'll probably analyse it a bit closer, building up. But like you say, if you put a gun to my head and said who, then I would say Ruiz. Okay.
Well, I'll see you out there in Vegas for Wilder Ortiz. You'll be there, right?
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Good. And again in Saudi. All right. Cheers, Matt. Thanks for your time in LA. Bit different to our last interview on what was it, Thursday? Thursday or Friday? I can't even remember. Cheers. Yeah.